Hello, folks out there. Let's see who all we got in. We got Stingray in here.
What's up,
Dylan.
Stingray?
Let's see. I don't know how many we got. I kind of did this last minute. I think I put something out there about 5:30. I just wanted to talk a little bit about this players only meeting and kind of what they're thinking and it's such a, I don't know. It's been kind of a roller coaster with Joe. One minute you're like, oh no, and the next minute it's like the Clemson game. You're like, oh, okay, this is maybe going to work out just fine.
Yeah.
And then the Virginia was this. It started out bad, and then he got good in the second half, and it's like, oh, okay, he's all right. Then I thought the Austin Peay game, he would just wear it out. I thought 300 yards minimum, 3 touchdowns, that he would just wear that secondary out, and that didn't happen. So it sounds like they called a players only meeting, which, sometimes that's a really good thing. Sometimes that's usually that can be a bad thing. It just depends. Of course, it's so early in the season, it's probably a good thing.
We hope so anyway, right?
Yeah. Hopefully that they get some more intensity out of the players because they looked a little, I don't know. They just looked off offensively, especially the wide receivers and Milton. But then again, he at one point, I think he completed 21% of his pass, or what was it, 21 completions out of 30 or something like that. He was 60-some%.
10 yards weren't there. That was the problem. Maybe he's good at that behind the line deal.
Well,
he does well with that.
That's because your receiver's just standing there. He's not moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all you got to do is turn sideways and rifle the ball 100 miles an hour and hope one of them catches it.
That's the one thing we were just talking about, BBD, that he still just seems to have one speed. He cannot dial it down.
I don't understand that.
Yeah, I was talking to Junebug last night. We had dinner down at Calhoun's on the river, and I said, the best pitchers, they don't just have a good fastball. They also have a good curveball. They have a good slider, and they definitely have a good changeup. And Milton just has kind of a fastball and a slightly less fastball.
Yeah.
It seems like. And
excuse me.
Doing something like we were just talking about, just doing the old fade pass in the middle, just the lob pass in the corner of the end zone that Peyton was a master at, and some other guys have been really good at. I don't know that he could do that.
You got to have touch for that, Chilmont. I mean,
you do.
You have to, especially that, like you were saying, that back corner, not back shoulder, but the back in the corner of the end zone, that little fade pass.
That fade lob, and you got a 6'4" receiver going against a 5'8" defender, and just throw it to where only he can catch it and let him go up and make the catch. But when it's 100 miles an hour, he doesn't have time to go up and make the catch.
That's when we're going to see Joe Milton's first pick. I'm calling it right now. His first pick is going to come in the corner of one of them Florida end zones. I mean, I hope I'm wrong, but I just got a feeling that, and I hope it's not one of them deals where we're driving for a touchdown late, to win the game in miraculous, unlike Tennessee fashion against Florida. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope it happens early. If it happens.
I still definitely like our chances down there. I'm just not as confident now. I'm sure you guys aren't either. But
I don't know. What do you think, Jay?
I'm concerned. My concern is significant at this point. And there's so many trains of thought with this. And I'm going to hit them all tonight. I'm going to hit all the trains of thought on this because quarterback is such a sensitive subject on a team. It's the one position you can't just be popping people in and out of there unless you start the season out that way. If you start the season out that way, it's like, okay, we're just trying to figure out who the best guy is. But when you declare this is our starter, he's 6-year senior, all of those types of things, and it's all, and your next guy is a true freshman, it can cause political problems. Because then everybody going, oh, he just got benched, everybody goes crazy. Whereas if it was a running back or a defensive lineman or center, it'd be no big deal. You wouldn't think twice about another guy coming in. No. But with quarterback, you got to be, then you might split up the team. one side loves Joe, the other side thinks Nico, and you add a lot of issues when you do that.
You can end up with problems.
Well, you bring up a good point, John. You got some background noise big time there, TriStar.
There you go.
If Cooper Mays plays this weekend, the casual fan is not even going to notice. They don't know the difference between Ollie Lane and Cooper Mays. No. Whereas, experts like the four of us, we're gonna notice that right off. But like to get to what you were saying about quarterbacks, yeah, you can't. Two quarterback system has never worked ever. Even when Spurrier was doing it.
I was going to say Spurrier did that in 98 with Doug Johnson, Jesse Palmer. He was switching them out after every play. I remember watching that.
It didn't work out too well except anybody but us,
Yeah. It worked against us, but yeah. He did it about as successfully as anybody has, but it still wasn't a big success.
No. Chilmont at quarterback for Florida would probably work against us.
I'll say this. I'll say this about going into the Florida game. Me and some of my friends, we were talking about this. I'm in the camp that hopefully maybe it's just they were just being very vanilla and calling a bunch of screen passes, not trying to really open it up or anything intentionally because they don't want to show anything. Because Kirby Smart does that. Like he'll run a very vanilla game plan, but then when they get in the conference play, he'll just open it up and all that stuff. And this is what's going to happen. If that's the case, then Milton and all these guys, because if y'all seen that, Joe Milton himself called a players-only meeting because that was in their words, that was a sorry performance against Austin Peay. They were very disappointed, not happy what they did out there. They were very mad at themselves, and I think they're going to be fired up going into Florida. And this is going to go one of two ways. Either Joe Milton's going to ball out or Nico is going to be starting against UTSA.
I hope it's A and not B.
Yeah, everybody wants that. Obviously, they want A.
Yeah.
Now, the second, I gave you the first train of thought is that you've got to stick with Joe. You don't want to split up the team. There's all of that. But if he doesn't play well, and let's say we lose the Florida game, for example, then you're in a situation to where you've got a guy that's a 5-star.
Yeah.
That is getting paid reportedly $2 million a year. He's been there for 10 months. This is a ideal system for a guy to learn it quickly because Heupel can set up that system to where it's fairly simple.
Right.
And take a lot of pressure off of him, kind of basically what he did for Joe in that Austin Peay game. He took a lot of pressure off of him and said, hey, just throw it to the side. And,
that's John, I saw something you mentioned there, TriStar, about being very vanilla. Somebody said on Ball Nation that there was a former coach analyzing, our formations, everything. We used like 6 different play formations, I think, and that's it.
Yeah.
In 2 games, so that's about as vanilla as it gets.
And somebody brought this up. My guy Jordan, who works with John Dunn, the All Collins show, works on Overtime Fox Sports Knoxville. He mentioned this to me. He said this feels just like in 2018 there at Clemson when they had Kelly Bryant, who had been there forever and all that stuff, and they had the superstar Trevor Lawrence, who should have been at Tennessee. That's a whole different tangent. Mm-hmm. The superstar, 5-star true freshman, everybody's wanting him to play because Kelly Bryant wasn't getting it done. Then by I think game 4, game 5, they put Trevor Lawrence in. They go on to win the national title. Yeah.
This is the one offense. This is the one offense that I would be pretty comfortable thinking that, if he's as good as we think he is, he could probably handle it pretty well. And now, granted, he's not going up against, let's say it's a worst case scenario. We lose the Florida game. Joe plays poorly and he decides, okay, I'm going to give Nico a shot here with UTSA.
Yeah. Cause UTSA is not good.
Yeah. They're not Georgia. That'd be the nightmare scenario is to start him against a Georgia or an Alabama at Alabama.
No.
That would be – I would not want to do that with him.
No.
And I wouldn't want to start him in this Florida game either.
No. Let Milton take his licks.
Yeah, this is one where basically Joe needs to win this ball game. He needs to play well. Now, if he plays well and we lose, that's one thing. But he needs to win this ball game, and we're better than Florida. Florida's got a decent quarterback, but he's a pedestrian. We will put a lot of pressure on him. We will get to him, probably sack him 3 or 4 or 5 times.
There's no real good reason in my estimation that Tennessee should lose this game. And I know that our fan base is rabid and, Vols by 50 and all that craziness. Yeah. Look, I hope we go down to the Swamp and just get a win. If it's ugly, so be it. Just go down there and get a freaking win, something we haven't done in 20 years.
If it's an ugly win, it'll be beautiful.
Yeah.
Because beating Florida is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, a 1-point win's a win in Florida. We have not won in 20 years.
I'd be perfectly happy with I'd be happy with 10-9.
If we go down there and beat Florida we kick a late field goal to win by 1.
Yeah.
Nobody
is going to complain.
Not a human on the planet's going to be talking about Austin Peay anymore.
No.
But I did have a question for you guys. I've been thinking of this ever since the game, and I keep forgetting to ask anybody about it. Did you guys see that 5 wide set Austin Peay had?
I loved it.
Oh, yeah.
Why are we not doing that?
That looked like 4 verticals on NCAA football.
That was, they threw the kitchen sink and the kitchen tub and everything at us.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and every trick play they had in the book.
And that's the thing. Like, I know we didn't play great, but hey, shout out to Austin Peay. They came out swinging. They wanted to win that game.
Yeah, and there was a lot of complaining about there was a lot of holding going on that didn't get called. There was a lot of chop blocks that didn't get called. And it was all over Ball Nation. I was looking at it earlier, and people complaining about how dirty they played. And then those blindside blocks that they did, they finally called a penalty on one of those, but they decleated a couple of our guys.
Oh man,
on those blindside blocks, and they only called one of them, and they did that multiple times.
And that game got pretty chippy there for a second. I remember they cut away. I want to say they were on like the 40-yard line. They run a play. It shows Austin Peay's coach on TV, and all of a sudden you hear the crowd get loud, and all of a sudden you see Tennessee players pulling their guys back, and Austin Peay players pulling their guys back. I was like, man, we're about that big brawl here.
Well, that was when those 3 receivers got our guy down on the ground, mugged him.
Yeah.
Took his lunch money, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, like I said, I'm just thinking that maybe that was our version of Georgia Kent State last year because a lot of people, talk about how great that Georgia team was. They had a bad game. Just things weren't going right. Like their receivers were dropping passes. They just looked off. And also too, coming from I've heard from other players, they say when you're a top level team like Tennessee and you're playing a team that you're expected to beat by 100, a lot of times it's hard to get up for a game like that because you're like, because you got a big game the next week. So it could have been they just weren't really taking them seriously.
Uncle Lou, I knew Uncle Lou would chime in on that. I knew he complained about the refs on that one.
There was probably 20. There was like 20, what do you call them? Threads about the officiating and all the chop blocking and all that. And there was some people saying it was like the Akron game. You remember that one
last year?
Don't start in that. The only thing that upset me about the Akron game was them trying to hurt our players. That's what got me going. I just didn't want them hurting our players.
Yeah, that one play where Hennon tossed it off to, I think it's Jalen Wright.
Went straight for his knee.
Yeah, trying to blow his knee out. Yeah, I watched. I was there. I seen that live. I was there, right above the Akron section.
Yeah, we've been talking about that for a year. That was not good. And there were some saying it wasn't quite that dirty, but it was dirty.
Yeah, that's the only thing that concerns me. The chop block, I didn't care for that, but I really didn't care if we got bad calls because I didn't think that mattered. We were playing Austin Peay at home. Yeah. So I was like, so what? You know, I mean, if it had been against Alabama, I'd have been screaming, but against Austin Peay, I just didn't think it was that big a deal. We should have been ahead by 50, I thought.
Oh yeah,
Well,
and
ask Georgia fans about McNeese. Was it McNeese State last year, or it was one of them?
It was Kent State.
No,
Yeah.
maybe I'm thinking a couple of years prior that they struggled at home. I think they were even trailing at halftime. Lou would remember.
How you doing
God.
there, Woo?
I forget who it was, but it was like a McNeese State.
Yeah.
Lou, if go ahead, Strife.
I was just gonna say, you know, but the good thing is that if say Milton is off his game, I feel very confident in our running backs that we can just run it down their throat because their defense is horrible.
Yeah. Nickel State.
Like their front four, they're big, but they're not fast. They don't really have it linebacker. They got one good cornerback. That's about it. So, I mean, we shouldn't really be having any problems moving the ball. And I feel very good about our front seven against their offensive line. I feel like Graham Mertz is going to be on his back all night. So,
defenses look better.
I'm still sticking with my prediction. What did I say last night, BVD? What, 38-10 or something like that?
Something like that.
I will be shocked if it's 38-10. We will have no quarterback controversy if it's 38-10.
This time a week ago, you wouldn't have been shocked at that, though, would you?
Yeah, I've been predicting a 7-point win all winter because Florida at the Swamp, and we don't play well down there.
Well, I'm not taking account the history, the fact that we won there in 20 years. I'm looking at what we have right now versus what they have right now.
When has that ever mattered, though, TriStar?
That Florida? Is true. 2015 comes to mind.
Yeah. 17 out of the last 18 years come to mind for me. Or whatever it is, 16 out of 17. I mean.
Well, we were there the last time. John and I were there last time with our older brother and our dad back in 2003.
That's the last time we won.
Yeah, that's the last time we won.
My dad went down there in 97.
When was the Travis Stevens outbreak? Was that
2001? 2001,
yeah.
2001. He ran for over 200 yards.
We need Jalen Wright to do that.
That was the game. That was the game that it was supposed to happen in September, but then, of course, 9/11 happened, so they postponed it to the end of the year.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Speaking of postponements and all that, you want to hear something crazy, John, that I literally just like 2 minutes ago got a text on my phone. I know you know, and I hate to switch the subject, but all this crap that's been happening with Lightning and games getting canceled, they're rescheduling our Friday game for Tuesday. So we're going to have to play 2 football games in, what is that,
1
3
week.
days?
2 games in 3 days. That's
one on
crazy.
Tuesday at home, and then go on the road that same Friday and play another one. That's just ridiculous.
So who are y'all playing?
It doesn't matter. We're going to beat the shit out of them. Excuse my language. Morristown West and then Volunteer.
Oh,
okay.
Hey, as long as Polk County wins, that's all I care about.
As long as we get to play, that's all I care about, because
did they beat Alcoa, BBD?
We were beating them, but then we had a terrible play in our own end zone, and our quarterback threw a pick 6 as he was getting sacked.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And the guy could have literally fallen into the end zone for the touchdown. But we were dominating them at the line of scrimmage. They're big Alabama. The guy that they got committed to Alabama, he was playing mostly defense. I think he might have had 1 catch. And then the other guy, I forget his name, something Winton, Brandon Winton, maybe. I don't know. The other guy that's going to USF. Now that dude's got some wheels. He could have put a hurting on us, but we were in their backfield all night, like we need to do against Florida this weekend. We got to be. Graham Mertz needs to have Tennessee nightmares for the rest of his life after this weekend.
And not only that, I think if we beat them 38-10, Sunbelt Billy's a dead man walking at Florida.
He's a dead man walking anyway.
Yeah, he's definitely on the hot seat. He could save his job Saturday, though.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, absolutely. If they beat Tennessee, who many people project to be a top 10 team, I understand why they kept Alabama ahead of us. I mean, I understand why we dropped because, Notre Dame looked really good and they wanted to move them up, blah, blah, blah. but they should have dropped Alabama out of the top 10. That's a whole tangent for another day, but yeah.
Yeah, that was
Well, I
shocking.
mean,
They got their butts whooped.
they were as close to winning that game though as they were to losing. They just couldn't get it done at the end. Shout out to Texas though. That's
Yeah,
as a Tennessee fan, it's not easy to go into Tuscaloosa and get a win.
yeah, and Texas is coming to the SEC next year along with Oklahoma. So,
What are you doing, TriStar?
oh, no, is he in a camper or something?
He's in his truck. You got that little mute button down there, John. Mute him.
Yeah,
There you go.
I muted him.
There you go.
Now he can unmute himself, correct? Or do I have to unmute
Yeah,
him?
I think he can unmute you.
Oh,
He
Yeah,
can unmute
I
himself.
was turning my TV and stuff off.
okay. Yeah.
It was getting hot here.
One of my big concerns is that Nico's not getting any playing time at all. None. He got zero. I mean, was he in for one play where they need the ball or something?
I don't think he even played against Austin.
Did he even did it? Well, there was also a report that he had maybe twinged his wrist.
Yeah.
I saw that in Sports Illustrated that he was questionable for that game, and I think it wasn't his throwing wrist. I think it was his other wrist.
Yeah, I heard that too.
And the thing is, you don't want to rush.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you try to start.
Can y'all hear me?
Just barely.
Barely.
Yeah.
We hear your trucks, whatever that is that's running.
There we go. How about now? It should be a lot better.
The same.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah, you've got your trucks, whatever that thing is, running.
Yeah, the AC, you got the generator or something, but
generator. There you go. Tough
I'm
word.
muting.
Sorry, Chilmont.
There you go. I'll mute him for a moment.
Well,
Is there any way you can like permanently mute TriStar? I mean,
But no, I'm concerned about Nico not getting any playing time. If we're going to need him at some point, he should have.
how about now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
much better.
Okay.
Yeah, I came back here in my sleeper because it was starting to get kind of hot because I'm down here in Texas.
Oh, okay.
Because I had my truck shut off.
Are they all excited about beating Alabama?
Oh yeah, they're as happy as a pig in crap.
I figured they'd be excited because they have not had a big win like that in a long time. So they've got to be pumped.
Oh yeah.
is Texas back? Does that make them back?
Texas
I tell
back.
you what, Ewers
Hello,
looked
friend.
pretty good. Ewers looked pretty good. He really did. He threw some nice passes. And I tell you, you've got to have good quarterback play. You just must have it. I don't care who you are. Your quarterback's got to be able to keep your offense steady, Eddie. Even like Georgia last year, that dadgum DoorDash Bennett was a lot better than people realized, I think.
Yeah.
He's way better. We actually I asked TriStar and the guys the other night on my show, who would you rather have at crunch time as your quarterback, Stetson Bennett or Joe Milton? And everybody said, with the exception of one person that said no comment, said Stetson Bennett.
Well, yeah, he was clutch. He was very clutch.
He was clutch.
But I would have rather had Hendon Hooker, though. If I'd have had that choice, I would have taken Hendon. But that's me.
Yeah, I'd take Hendon all day. But he was good, though. There's no doubt. Of course, what an offensive line and a defense they had, so that does make it easier.
Oh, gosh, yes. Their defense was stellar last year. The only team that really had their way with them was Ohio State. And once they lost that incredible wide receiver, they couldn't even move the ball against them.
Yeah. So they're definitely good. And they don't suck at that. They struggled a little bit here Saturday, didn't they?
Well, we've lost 10 times in a row to them down there, so that there could be some truth to that.
Yeah.
I think Florida, how can I put this? I think the old Florida is in the old Tennessee's head. I don't think there's a player at the University of Tennessee right now that's scared of Florida.
No,
at least not a starter.
And definitely not Josh Heupel. I can promise you that.
Yeah.
No.
He's not a bit afraid of them.
Especially after beating them last year.
Yeah. I thought they
Which
were
was
going to beat him
huge.
that first year he was a coach. But
What happened
are.
that year? Oh yeah, okay.
21.
Okay.
We played them down there with Hendon.
Yeah.
And they actually won that game against us pretty easily. And then Hendon, God, man, he played great in 21. He was unreal.
Yeah.
He was special. And then 22, he couldn't have played any better either.
No.
Yeah. If he hadn't,
I'm
should have
hoping
been
that
our first Heisman winner.
I'm hoping Nico is going to be
if
similar.
he could have played out the season, and if we'd have beat South Carolina, he should have won the Heisman.
And once again, we'll never know.
Yeah.
I sure wish we could have seen not only that, but also I'd love to have seen Nico for a half in that Austin Peay game to see what he can do.
Yeah. Going back to what you were saying, John, Nico should have played at least 2 quarters in these last 2 games. He should have played the fourth quarter in both these games because we had a comfortable lead and we haven't.
If we have nothing
against
but
Virginia, but yeah, he should have been in the fourth quarter getting game reps.
Yeah, look, we may have nothing but close games from this point forward. If our offense is going to struggle, Nico may not get in there, period. Except for maybe the last 2 plays to knee the ball, or that'd be about it that I can think of.
If we play like we played Saturday, excuse me, against Alabama or Georgia, they'll hand our heads to us.
Yeah, it'd be
especially
awful.
Georgia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know though. We'll have to see with Georgia. I haven't watched 10 minutes of them yet this year.
Have any of y'all seen A&M yet?
They already lost. They lost.
Did they lose?
Yeah,
they lost this weekend.
Miami wore them out. Wore them out, and that
I didn't catch that. I meant to watch that. And
touchdowns. Uncle Lou wore that kid out about that Miami quarterback, and he threw 5 touchdowns.
Oh, with the pacifier. Talking about the kid with the pacifier.
I can't remember that, but I just remember he wasn't impressed with him, and then he went out there and balled out against Texas A&M. And A&M's got a good defense. They did last year, that's for sure.
Yeah.
If Miami puts 48 on you, you know something's up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully that bodes well for when we play them. At least we got them at home. That'll help. But
that game's always been a concern for me, Chilmont. I mean,
it has me too. I always felt like they were kind of even though they had a bad season last year, they're kind of a wolf in sheep's clothing. Like if they can kind of get something together, that they would be really good because they've got talent. And they've had really good recruiting success down there. And of course, again, it goes back to what we've talked about since, for the last couple of months, John, is that the season hinges on Florida.
Well, it seems to always be critical. Whenever we beat Florida, we usually have a pretty good season. I mean, that just for whatever reason, that's just been the case. And we should win this game, but I tell you, I don't really know how I feel about it right now. I'm so shocked at the Austin Peay game. I mean, I'm really shocked over it that happened. I thought that
I would not be terribly shocked if we won convincingly, but then I would not be shocked if we lost
convincingly.
Yeah, it could happen. I don't
think it could go either way or something in between. It's just it's still kind of you know what you don't know anything really. I mean, we know our running game is good. We know that. And we know our defense has improved. And if we can get some pressure on their quarterback, I think we've got a good shot of winning by a touchdown, maybe 2.
I don't think Adam gets it in the comments. He says, "Why are y'all so confident?" Has anybody out of the 4 of us tonight, other than TriStar, really said anything that sounds like we're brimming with overconfidence? I don't think so. I mean, me and Jay have been scared to death of Florida all off season.
I have too.
As somebody asked a question or said Florida's in Tennessee's head, I think Florida's in our fans' heads. The realistic ones.
The ones that have been around, because the players we got there now haven't been around for 20 years and had to deal with Spurrier and then everybody else.
Yeah, they're coming off of beating them last year.
Yeah.
When you think about it, over half of the kids, probably 2/3 of the kids on our team, don't know what it's like or have never seen Tennessee win in Gainesville.
Yeah. That's
They're going to
true.
see it for the first time Saturday night, firsthand. But that's something for us to talk about next week.
I definitely like our chances. I'm just after Saturday, I'm just certainly not as confident as I was Friday, and for good reason. But I still really like our chances. I think we match up well against them. I don't think they're very good offensively, and maybe not as good defensively. I hope that's the case, and we can go down there and show them something.
I can promise you this. There's a comment from Chad. Those players will be intense against Florida. They're going. I promise you, Tennessee's going to show up with their hair on fire, but Florida will too.
That's what we need to do.
Florida will too.
Guaranteed, because they've been hearing it all off season.
Yep.
How bad's Tennessee going to beat Florida? Is it, kind of like the South Carolina game last year? Those kids for South Carolina had to be sick to death of hearing the word Tennessee, because that's all they heard for that entire week after Florida handed them their heads down in Gainesville. Oh God, Florida beat them 30-6. How bad's Tennessee going to beat them? Well,
plus, after the last two seasons, we've got a big target on our back now that we haven't had for a long time.
Well, one positive thing we've got is our defense is clearly better than last year. We're going to be solid against the run, obviously. We're going to put some pressure on their quarterbacks. We'll put pressure on Graham Mertz. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if he runs for 300 yards. Throws for 300 yards with his 5 and 10 yard little passes that he does. Because he is accurate. He's got a good arm, but he's not going to run on us. Their running backs probably won't be too successful against us. But I would think they'll be able to throw against us pretty well from the 20 to the 20. But the problem I've seen with Florida against quality clubs, once they get to the 20, they struggle because their running game kind of just doesn't get the job done, and then they're stuck throwing the ball. That's what happened with Utah.
And the field does this.
The 20.
When you get in the red zone, the field just automatically does that.
Yeah, and if you don't have that running option, and you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle. And I think they'll struggle all year. Anthony Richardson, the great thing that he brought to him was he was just an incredible runner. So when they got in the red zone, they could score.
He could get out of trouble really quick.
But his arm kind of creaked him off and on.
Yeah. But he was hit or miss. He threw for 900 yards against us.
Yeah.
Of course, that's more of a indictment of our
he had
defensive
over
back play from last year.
500 yards himself in that game. He had over 500 yards, close to
ridiculous.
600. Yeah, it was unbelievable. And then, I'm gonna tell you who's playing really well, and he's not getting a whole lot of help is Spencer Rattler. Spencer Rattler has balled out in the first 2 games, and now he's gotten killed. He got killed in the North Carolina game. They sacked him 9. Like I said, I've never seen a 9-sack game.
I know.
They did everything but run over to the sidelines and hit him over there. They wore him out.
He looked like Jarrett Garantano getting murdered like he used to get killed.
Yep. That's a good comparison. So he's looking good. I thought he's confident. I can just tell by the way he's playing that he's feeling good about himself. But his offensive line is porous as can be. It's bad. He's going to be running for his life the whole year, I believe.
I know there was one thing I wanted to ask about, and which didn't make a whole lot of sense. Was it Sampson last against Virginia had like 4 touchdowns?
Hey, there's Kevin.
And
Kevin's been there, Jay. He's been in the chat section the whole time.
I just missed him in there. Yeah.
Sorry, Chillmont. Didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's all right.
Kevin in here for a minute.
He had like, was it 4 touchdowns against Virginia?
Who
are you talking about?
Sampson.
Oh yeah, 3 or 4. I know he had the first 2.
But he only had like 3 touches.
He had 3.
He had 3 touches against Austin Peay. And why are you not getting the ball to him more?
Well, I don't really know what the
deal.
I know
it's not. We got so many targets, but I don't know. Thornton hadn't shown. I got to be honest, Thornton hadn't shown me a ton yet. I was really looking forward to seeing him because he was really hyped up, and I don't know. Maybe his hands aren't as good as we thought. He's a huge target. And he looks great out there running routes, but I don't know. It could be partly Joe, but
the other two guys ran for right at 100 yards. So I mean, it's not like we were not running the ball effectively. Maybe who knows? He might have tweaked an ankle or something we don't know about.
Yeah,
our running game right now is not even an issue. We should rush. We should rush for 300 yards this weekend. I would think. I would hope.
So.
Let me.
That's my bold prediction.
Yeah,
that's not really a bold prediction, though, TriStar. I mean, we've shown, and if people, if certain people would quit calling it a gimmick offense, they would see that we are a rushing team first.
Yeah, we really are. That's and that surprises people when you look at the stats. Though we pretty much are. But Jalen Wright, he's averaged 9. I think it's over 9 yards a carry in both games.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's nuts. So he looks great, and got two right behind him too.
One good thing about both games is that our receivers are getting open. They are getting open. So if Joe plays well, I think he'll have a good game. And I think that we can get open against Florida as well with the way we scheme it up. Now, they'll probably use a lot of those sideline passes to try to pull their cornerbacks up.
Yeah.
And then try to burn them, which is probably what they should have done in that to start out the Austin Peay game. But I think he thought he didn't have to. He probably just thought, hey, let's just air this thing out a little bit.
Yeah.
And let Joe go to town and build up his confidence.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking, because I know what these wide receivers are capable of. And I've seen Joe Milton play good, so I don't think it's necessarily like they can't do it.
I'm hoping I think I sent out a text to my brothers from the game. I said, hopefully this is just an anomaly and not a sign of the things to come. But if it was just, they just didn't get up for the game, it was Austin Peay and all that, then we should be okay. And hopefully that's what it was. But if they can just tighten it up with Milton, we were just a little more accuracy from having to cut at least 3 more touchdowns.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is that can be worked on, and I'm pretty sure, if I had to guess, probably all week, what Heupel's going to have Milton doing is throwing to the receivers, and that's it. Because, and maybe work on some timing stuff, because one big thing a lot of people's not talking about, Cooper Mays is going to be back at center.
Yeah, that'll be a nice thing.
I was going to say, Chill might use the word anomaly. For you Alabama fans out there, basically what that word means is it's different from the norm. Kind of like you guys losing to Texas at home.
Yeah,
you guys might be thinking that's an anomaly, but I think it's a sign of the future.
Yeah.
Listen, even with what I've seen, speaking of Alabama, and somebody's phone keeps going off.
Yeah, that's mine. I can't. I got.
He's a popular man right now.
Yeah.
But anyways, even with the quarterback wide receiver connection issues I've seen the first 2 games, I'm still picking us to go on the road to T-Town and win. After what I've seen, and
can we get past Florida first, TriStar?
Yeah, but I'm just throwing that out there.
It's a pretty big game this weekend. I know
absolutely.
The casual college football fan probably thinks like everybody else, we're going to go in there and beat them by 30. But we know different. We shall see at the end of the day.
I know a lot of Tennessee fans still have battered ball syndrome. That battered ball syndrome went away when we beat Alabama for me.
That's still
confidence.
Yeah,
it's hard to get rid of
that way.
It's like warts. It's hard to get rid of.
Zachary Whitfield said 72-13 Volunteers win.
Actually, I'll tell you what I'd like to see them do. Go ahead. Jay, I'd like to see them try to break the Tennessee scoring record. What was it, 104 points that we scored in like 1915 or whatever? We seen that last night.
Yeah, I think it was 104.
Yeah, let's try to break that record if
Let's
it's even
put in the
possible.
first half too, right?
Yeah, to hell with them. Run up the score. Spurrier did it for years.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Would you? I mean, I know you guys are probably going to say yes to this. You'd be okay with that, wouldn't you? Running the score up on them.
Oh,
Like it wouldn't hurt my feelings if we were up by
especially in
38
Gainesville.
points, by 38 points with a minute to go. It used to irritate the crap out of me
See,
when
Spurrier
Fulmer
did
was
it.
here. No, when Fulmer was here, you know, we'd be up on people 2 touchdowns with 2 or 3 minutes to go, and he wouldn't try and put it in the end zone.
Oh yeah, he put his foot on the brake.
Yeah.
Fulmer was in Boogie Bentley's words the most conservative coach in history.
But behind Johnny Majors. Yeah.
Yeah, well, again, that's more of an old school type mindset, I guess.
Yeah.
But
look around, Star. You're with 3 old dudes in here. It's just like Grandpa Central here, but I love it, you know.
Yeah. Y'all probably remember being there when Tennessee beat Auburn in 1989 or whatever.
I do. I remember that.
I was a freshman when we beat the Bear his final year in '82.
Were you there?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I was there too. That was my first Alabama streak ender. That was amazing.
Yep. Well, we were there with our mom and dad, and they took us down on the strip. They had to close off the strip. There was probably 30,000 people down on the strip.
You couldn't move.
We went and ate dinner down there and just had a blast.
It was so locked up on I-40. We rode with one of my stepdad's buddies. He had one of them big conversion vans, and they'd been drinking the whole day. It was so locked up on 40. I remember my stepdad getting out of the van, running down a hill to an exit and using the bathroom at a filling station and coming back and catching us. It's crazy.
Yeah, that was a great one.
I'd like to see that against Georgia this year. That'd be great.
That would be very nice.
But
we'll see. I mean, Florida's going to tell us a lot. It's going to tell us a whole lot. Can we get up after a disappointing game where we didn't play like we're up to playing, and can Heupel get them fired up to go in there and take care of business? If he can, and that happens, then I think we're in great shape.
We'll see how this plays out. I said,
if we don't go down there and get beat.
Yeah, I said when we played the Clemson game that Joe was under as much pressure as he could possibly be under. And then now this is even more. But he performed pretty darn well in that Clemson game. So maybe he performs well under that type of pressure. I don't know.
Maybe in.
Yeah, there should have been absolutely none in the in that Austin Peay game. That's why I thought, man, you know, these guys are going to score 100 in that game. But
how did they do what they did? Because I mean, honestly, glorified scrimmage was a term thrown around all week last week.
Oh yeah.
For them to come in here and for all intents and purposes shut our offense down, even though we did most of the shutting down ourselves.
Yeah.
That was those kids and that coaching staff. I know they went back to Clarksville thinking they won that game.
Yeah, I'm
probably
sure they're looking
cigars.
at that as a moral victory.
Yeah,
they definitely had a moral victory. If they'd have scored that last touchdown, they'd have probably celebrated.
Oh, like you know they would have. Yeah,
yeah.
Their coach
they
was
acted like they won the game.
Yeah, that coach was full of piss and vinegar, as they like to say.
Well,
yeah, he was definitely fiery.
Well, he was, and he did the smart thing in that he used those timeouts to try to always put out the fire every chance that we were, moving. He would try to throw us off a rhythm. That was really smart, I thought.
He had a damn good game plan, I have to admit.
Hey Jay, I gotta ask you: Are you gonna have Billy Napier on as a guest this week?
Billy Napier. I don't think Billy. Now I don't know if it's possible he would show up.
It'd be more likely you'd see him on my channel.
That's probably true.
No, because I remember last year you'd have Brian Kelly on there. You'd have Nick Saban. You had all the coaches.
It could definitely happen. It almost if we beat them, there's a real high likelihood he'd show up the next week. But Bill, let me tell you something. Here's the thing about Billy Napier. This could be his final season there, or it might work out for him. I'm telling you, he's under as much pressure as you can possibly imagine as far as a head coach is concerned. Because one of the things that I heard that buddy, I think it's Buddy Martin, I actually featured him a while back, that I tell you, if the donors decide that they don't like him and they don't want him to have any money, even if he's owed $32 million, if all of a sudden that NIL money stops, guess what? Your recruiting stops. So he's under a lot of pressure. That Utah game, and it wasn't just losing that upset the Florida people. Yeah, it was the way they lost. He was letting time click off that third quarter like they were up or tied, and they were down 3 touchdowns.
Wasn't he on our list, Jay, when we were looking for a coach when we hired Heupel? Or maybe it was before Heupel, because our AD swears that Heupel was his one and only option.
Well,
Tony Elliott.
Tony Elliott was on the list, wasn't he?
Yeah,
he was interviewed.
Yeah, he claims he turned it down.
No, now here's the story. So basically, yes, Danny White interviewed a bunch of people. I think it was like 40 people he interviewed, but he said he knew he was only getting one guy.
Why do you go through the whole process of interviewing 40 people if you know you're going to get one guy? That makes no sense to me.
I mean,
you got to do it for liability purposes.
Probably for liability things. That way, it doesn't look like you were dead set on one guy.
Well, especially a state business like that's government related.
Yeah, my God, 40 people. I mean,
did he surely he didn't interview that many people.
It was at least like 25 or 30. I know that.
I'm not calling you a liar, TriStar. I'm just saying that's a lot. You know how long it would take to interview 40 people for a regular job?
Not if it's on Zoom, it wouldn't.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
You could do 2 or 3 a day.
Right. That would have, they could have done it that way. But I'm just looking on the coach's hot seat site here, and Napier's number 6.
Who's number is Jimbo number 1?
Yep, Jimbo's number 1. Guess who's number 3?
Mel Tucker.
Butch Jones.
Wait a minute. For which job?
Arkansas State.
Yeah, Arkansas State. He got beat 73-0.
Yeah, and I misheard the question.
He was down there on the sidelines at Oklahoma, just like cupping his mouth and crying like a little B word.
I would feel sorry for him. And the people were saying, should you feel bad for Butch Jones?
No.
I'll tell you, the thing was, for however long he was here, he was flashing the ball for life signal. And less than a year later, he's smoking a cigar with Alabama under our stadium.
Yeah. And that gripes every Tennessee fan's nerves.
Yeah. And he did that. And I said, I guess ball for life means ball for about 6 months.
Well, I can tell you this, knowing some of the stories I've heard from former players and stuff. Derek Dooley and Jeremy Pruitt, they're actually decently good human beings. Butch Jones, I wouldn't use the bathroom. It's an old phrase, you wouldn't use the bathroom on him if he was on fire.
Yeah.
That. Like, he told a player, and we didn't have any kind of hair rule or anything. He told him something to the effect of, you need to cut your dreads because you look like a thug, stuff like that. He threatened to kick a player off the team because he was defending a girl who possibly got SA'd by a player, saying you're not standing up for the team, stuff like that. Again, and he was always going around Knoxville flaunting about, if I could always just go to Michigan. Like, I could always go take the Michigan job.
Well, not everybody wants a haircut like Sergeant Carter. You know.
Right.
What's
He
the
did
dog's
just like
name?
Sergeant Carter.
Is that little Josh Heupel there?
Yeah, that's little Josh. This is Bambi. Jan texted me and said, "Show Bambi, show Bambi."
Yeah.
So I
Bambi,
had to show
Bambi's pretty
Bambi.
popular. Everybody likes Bambi. Bambi has been on every show, Wilmot.
Yeah,
Bambi's been on every show that you've been on.
Who doesn't like
always
who
makes an
doesn't like a
appearance.
Bambi, right?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
everybody loves Bambi.
And she's a Chihuahua BVD, and normally they're not very nice dogs. A lot of them aren't, and she's really sweet.
Yeah, she's a good dog. She doesn't bark at you or try to bite you or anything.
Does she shake all the time?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's just in Chihuahua genetics.
Yeah,
I think it is.
especially if it's thunder and lightning.
Oh yeah,
man.
she freaks out. But yeah, she's cold when it's 90.
Does she shed a lot?
She sheds an amazing amount.
Yeah.
I know the short-haired dogs, I didn't think they were that way, but I can vacuum this floor and it's one like that of fur on this little dog. But yeah, it's like a husky is shedding or something. But she's a good dog anyway.
Yeah, but Butch had a good year or two when he had Josh Dobbs. Josh Dobbs carried him.
Dobbs
carried him.
He did. Who was the guy? He eventually went to South Carolina as head coach, but he was head coach at Florida, and they beat us that last second. And he kept Butch. He kept him hired down there at Florida for like an extra 2 seasons. What the heck was his name? I called him Angry Coach.
Muschamp.
Okay.
Will
what
Muschamp.
years were?
Will Muschamp.
Yeah.
Muschamp. Yep.
Jeff Driscoll.
Jeff Driscoll.
Well, I don't know that there could be any more on this game than is what is on this game now, because not only is it a gigantic game in and of itself, now you've got who's going to be the starting quarterback. You've got the situation with Joe Milton, starting quarterback, and has had a players only meeting right before it. I mean, that just everything's elevated. Then you've got Billy Napier that desperately needs this game, because if he loses this game and goes 1-2, I don't think he'll win 4 games or 5 games. I really don't. And that's going to be brutal in Florida. So he needs this game desperately. So I think this is going to be one of those, which team wants it bad enough and who makes the mistakes.
Yeah.
Yep. I just don't trust Sunbelt Billy.
Well, I don't either, but the stakes are so high. They're so
They really are.
Now
I don't know how they could have got this high, but they're that high.
Now, I'll tell you this. How much of a percentage do you think is going to be Tennessee fans in that stadium? There's probably going to be a lot.
10%.
Really? That's it?
Do you think they can get that many tickets, though?
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to get 10,000 tickets to be at close to 10% or over. How many tickets do you think will be available?
That stadium holds 89,000, so that'd be about 9,000 Tennessee fans if it's.
It's really a matter,
10%.
can you get that many? I would think you could have that many pretty easily, but not if those tickets aren't available.
We'll have that little corner, that we always have down there with the band. That'll be full, and then there'll be Tennessee fans scattered all throughout the stadium. And if we're losing at any point of that game, who's covering the games at ESPN?
Yep.
If
It's
we're
Fowler
losing,
and Herb Street, I think.
oh God, I can't stand those two.
They
But
both
anyway,
hate us.
yeah, if at any point in that game we're losing, you can believe they're going to find every isolated Tennessee fan throughout that stadium and zoom in on them.
Oh,
Yeah. That looks like a goober.
Yeah.
Because it was Fowler. Was it Fowler who said we were Tennessee trailer trash?
He said that we had a trailer park mentality, and then of course our fan base twisted it into every different kind of trailer park analogy they could think of.
Now, if you'll talk about a fan base with a trailer park mentality, let me take you down I-59 down to the 205 area code down there in Alabama. I mean, when I think of an Alabama fan, I think of somebody in a stained out, beer stained wife beater with the plaid shorts with Crocs on, one of them camo Alabama hats on with no teeth and a red mullet.
Rebel flags hanging somewhere in the wall.
Yeah.
On the wall.
Yeah. Yes.
Jeff Puckett thinks I'm overthinking this game.
Hmm.
I am not overthinking this game. It is that important.
Yes, and don't forget he's got a dip of snuff in.
Oh yeah, and Budweiser.
Yeah, crushed Budweiser cans in this little beat up Chevy S10 that looks like it's about to fall apart.
Yeah, the back of it's full of beer cans. But
you just described half of the neighborhood I live in.
Yeah, that's about 75% of Polk County.
Hey, Kentucky too. I mean, they love to say it's all Tennessee or all the rednecks, but give me a break. Alabama, Mississippi,
all right.
West Virginia, Kentucky. I mean,
we're
everywhere.
Now let's try to keep it.
Yeah, we're going off the rails here.
A little bit reasonable here. Good grief.
Really, this is Sports Talk Jay's channel.
Yeah,
it's a family show.
Yeah, let's be a little bit more PG.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I didn't curse.
No, you're doing good, TriStar. You're doing good.
Don't tell him that, Jay.
You're all right.
He'll get so far into his head, we won't give. He'll be like a hot air balloon flying around wherever he's at in Texas.
So no, it's.
No, but I agree. I mean, it's a huge game. It's just it always is with Florida. It's always a huge game with them.
Well, I mean, what more could be at stake in your third game of the season than? Well, I guess if we were worried about Heupel, which we're not, absolutely zero concern over him as a head coach, but our starting quarterback situation and their head coaching situation, and it's at Florida at night at 7. Plus, it's at 7 o'clock too. On top of everything else,
they're going to be all lathered up down there.
Man, they're going to be so into Grandpa's cough medicine. It's not even gonna be funny.
Oh yeah. They're going to be all liquored up, and they're going to be. Let's just say relieving themselves in the water balloons and throwing them at people.
Yeah,
it'll be.
They
rough
do that. My dad in '97, Peyton Manning senior year, him and one of his work buddies went down to Gainesville, and he said they tried to fight him. They were throwing car batteries at him. Well, not AA batteries. I mean, I was wrong.
That's like the year they hung Peyton Manning in effigy on the fraternity row and then burned him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was there. It was pretty brutal.
Look here. Here's your Gator. A Gator hater said this huge game. Absolutely, it's a huge game for us.
Wait a minute. Clay Gamble.
It's a huge game for us, no doubt.
Who's Clay Gamble?
There must be two Clay Gambles because I know a Clay Gamble that's a big Tennessee fan.
I think he is. It said Gator hater.
Yeah. Okay. There we go.
Gator hater. So it's probably the same guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, thanks. Appreciate that, Wayne. He says go Green Devils. That's right.
Now, are they playing? You were telling me
that we were supposed to play Morristown
play too, right?
Yeah, we were supposed to play them this Friday, but our game, it happened. Their game got postponed last week to Thursday this week. So they're moving. It's crazy. They're moving our game with West to Tuesday. So not only do we have to play 2 games in 3 days, they have to play 2 games in like 4 days. So it's,
Yeah, well, I mean, we had the weather delay for the game Saturday, and because I was at the game with a buddy of mine, and they had in red, white letters with red background, seek shelter. I mean, people started heading in the tunnels and stuff.
Well, let me make an announcement here while I've still got everybody watching. Actually, let me share this because this will be interesting. I'll be on. I'm going to go behind enemy line, so to speak, to right here, peek into the Gators with Allie Peak tonight at 9 o'clock. If you want to watch that, we're going to be talking all about the Gators. And if you've watched my channel, you know that I've featured her several times, and also High Top Sports. I'll be going on High Top Wednesday, and I'm going to try to get out as much insider information to help us as possible. So that's it. So I'm going behind enemy line. She's a very nice person, by the way. I'm having a little fun there, but tonight at 9 o'clock. So I'm looking forward to that. And I'm also looking forward to going over there and talking to High Top Sports on Wednesday night. I think at 8 o'clock. I'll confirm that and let everybody know. So
little something else going on Wednesday, Sports Talk Jay. Don't forget that.
Oh yeah. And, oh gosh, glad you said that. 12 o'clock with Big Vol Daddy. And of course, Talking Vols at noon. Got that going on at noon.
Yeah.
We're going to be, man, are we going to be talking about Florida? Woo.
Yep.
You might as well throw me in that too, then.
I can't do that, TriStar. This is a pact.
We're like a cult, the three of us.
Yeah. Yeah. If you can't, we can't add anybody into it. It's a secret cult.
Oh, yeah. It's a top secret.
You gotta have a secret decoder ring to get into that.
I get it. It's, I know Sevierville's closer to the Tri-Cities than it is the good old Polk County.
But anyway, so we're almost done here. I've been an hour, and I think I feel just great about this game now. Now that we've talked about it for an hour, I don't think it'll be a piece of cake. We'll just win it, no problem. I feel.
But you're going over behind enemy lines in an hour, right?
Oh yeah, don't you worry.
Don't come out of there.
I'm going to find out everything, and then I'm going to bring it to Heupel.
Don't let her brainwash you.
You're going to do like
she is married to the guy that was the punter, national championship punter, and half her family I think played for Florida. So she's got a
channel. What's the channel name again?
It's called Peek Into the Gators.
Peak.
Yeah, she's very involved with Florida football and all this kind of stuff. And I think she was a media. She was a media.
Get the playbook and fax it to from Kinko's to Josh Heupel.
I think, it might have been. Yeah, once I get the playbook, I will be getting it to Josh Heupel through Kinko's. And I'm sure she'll have it right there for me to download, no problem.
Yeah. Actually, she'll email it to you.
All right. Is it P-E? Is it P-E-E-K?
Yeah, P-E-E-K. Because her last name's Peak. Her name's Allie Peak.
I think
so. A little play on words there.
Oh yeah, so third generation Gator, then married one as well. That's got to be her.
That's her. Yeah. He's only been doing YouTube for a while, but she's got a ton of subscribers already. She's doing really well.
I said she worked in radio, television, and print for years. So she's
she's done media. So
she's a professional. Oh Lord!
I start to say, like I've told you, John, if you could get an assistant in a bikini, you'd have 1 million subscribers.
Assistant bikini.
An assistant in a bikini.
Oh well, let's not get boobs. It's a family show. Family show. I keep trying to tell you that.
Well, there's families that have Hooters waitresses.
Well, that's true.
You know,
that's true. That's true.
Well, maybe we better end this.
Yeah, I got to go anyway. I got to wrap up. I've had Josh Heupel on the phone for this entire hour, and he's been.
I want to see the Josh Heupel interview.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the Heupel interview you got.
Yeah, I've got a lot of editing left to do, so I appreciate you having me on.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for coming on. Oh my gosh, hey, Jeff Puckett has sent me some money, $20.
There you go.
Oh, nice.
Appreciate that. Jeff. Somebody else did here too.
How sweet.
Yeah,
you guys have a good one. I'll talk to you soon, and I'll be lurking.
Good to see you, buddy.
DVD. Appreciate it.
You too, Chilmont. TriStar. Take care, buddy.
Okay. I've told you that I just don't know. My honest opinion on him. I guess we're going to find out Saturday. It's not like we're going to have to wait a long time to find this out.
Yeah,
that's true.
Thank you, Matt. 5. He does have 5 on it. Yeah, I mean, we're going to find. It's not like we're going to have to wait to see. I mean, we're going to know a lot
really quickly.
Yeah, exactly. And there's
we're going to know exactly where we are as a team
after having a players only meeting. I mean, everybody's going to be on alert. So.
Oh yeah.
We will know exactly where we are as a team on Sunday morning.
Ooh, that's
actually
good.
Saturday
Point
night.
There, O'Neill. Mentioned the GPA record to Peak. Yeah, you're right about that. I'll have to consider that. All right, folks. Appreciate you guys showing up. Thank you, TriStar and Chilmont. Appreciate you coming on the show.
Thanks for having me on, Jay. Always.
All right.
See you, TriStar.
We'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay, folks. Thank you.